All right, Ryan, how's it going, man?
I'm great, bud. We are officially live on Facebook. I'm going to
I
go
don't,
ahead and share this right now. How are
I
you?
don't, I don't know when this actually started going live, so people may have seen me messing with my cat before we're here, but no, I'm good. We're just hanging out here, on a Thursday night, playing some music, talking a little bit. So, what's been going on? I know you've been playing a lot of these shows lately, but
Yeah.
other than that, I mean, what have you been doing during this quarantine season?
Oh my gosh, man. Eating a lot more Twizzlers than I should. Gosh, keeping up with the kids, man. We got two kids. Olivia is 5.5. Gus is 3. And it's just a lot. My wife is just a rock star. She became a preschool teacher basically overnight, with a lot of other parents out there. And just been writing a lot of music, man. Been recording a lot of music. I'm releasing a new album of covers from the 70s. And so in the final stages of the recording process of that. And yeah, man, just doing a lot of live streams, doing a lot of voiceover work, which is something that I've been into for about the past 2 years. And just trying to stay as sane and patient and kind with the family, as best as we can, man. And of course, is staying as healthy as possible too.
Yeah, what have you found is like the most rewarding thing during this season? Because I mean, it's funny because I created this podcast back in the fall, and the idea of it
Yeah.
was to create spaces in our lives to slow down, and then the spring
Mm.
hits and COVID-19 hits, and we're kind of it's done that to us already. So we're kind of in a season where we didn't even have a choice, and we're slowed down. So. I mean, what have you found to be rewarding about this season where maybe you're not as busy as you had planned to be?
And it's really helped me, I think, in a way. Like, I'm a very goal oriented. I'm a 3 on the Enneagram. I've got a lot of goals, a lot of ambition, a lot of things that I'm doing sometimes simultaneously. And it's really helped me pause and reflect and practice a lot more gratitude for things that I probably should have been very thankful for before this whole thing hit us all. Um, Oddly enough, I've been praying prayers of gratitude for like technology and Wi-Fi, and I know that sounds kind of first worldy, but like, I wouldn't be able to work if it weren't for technology.
Right.
Like, if it weren't for the ability to go live and share my music and do voiceover work over the internet, man. It's so working remotely, I was already doing some of that. Now this has really just amplified that. And it's so yeah, it's part like slowing down, but it's also kind of part focusing and leaning out what I'm really trying to dive more into. And so in that way, man, I'm just trying to remember the things that I should have been grateful for all along.
Right.
And not beat myself up for the fact that I wasn't, but it's really brought a lot to light. But all in all, man, it's been good. And it's kind of this weird, like, I was talking to my some friends about this recently, of just like, it's kind of weird to answer the question, like, how are you doing, with like, actually, we're doing really well, and not feeling guilty about that, when so many people out there are not doing great. And so I've been trying to balance that out too, man. How are you doing?
We're doing pretty well. I mean, I've been enjoying the amount of time that Emily and I have been able to spend together. And I just thought about this the other day. I don't think I have left Bowling Green at all. Like, I
Hmm.
think the only time that I left town was to go down to Franklin, Kentucky, which is about 20 minutes away, to make
Okay.
a Facebook marketplace sale because we cleaned out our
Good for
garage.
you.
But I mean, we haven't even left this town at all. And I mean, we've been going on a lot of walks, and
Yeah.
that's been really good because we've had really good weather, and it's just been nice to like spend time together and not really have expectations to be anywhere or do anything. And this spring I was supposed to be coaching tennis, and I was really looking forward to that,
Yeah.
but that was going to bring me back to Evansville for the spring for Monday through Friday. And I was kind of nervous about that, to be honest with you, because it was going to be my last season coaching. And I just wanted to finish it out because I had a group of seniors that I'd been with for 3 years. And I was a little nervous about it because I was going to, be away from Emily all week. And, you know, not that I am grateful that that didn't happen, but I think there's blessing in the fact that now Emily and I are able to spend time together. Whereas, I'd be gone Monday through Friday from March until the end of May. And so,
Gosh.
we've been now every day during that time frame, we've been together. And so that's been beautiful. And, we've just enjoyed the little bit of activity we've been able to do, walking, and we still get takeout food, and we've binged, some Netflix shows, and just kind of, taking life
Nice.
easy. And what were you saying?
I was gonna say, what have you been watching on Netflix?
Well, we watched Tiger King, obviously. I watched the Waco
Okay.
documentary. I'm like super into the Waco historical. As a historical event, I'm super into the Waco siege. So I watched the Waco. It wasn't a documentary; it was like a
Okay.
mini series. So
Cool.
it was like an 8-episode mini series, and I watched, or maybe 6. I don't know. I watched like almost all of them in one night. I was up to like 2 or 3 in the morning watching them all, and then
Gosh.
we watched a show called The English Game, and it's all about how the origins of soccer, and more so professional soccer. And so it's basically, it's the creators of Downton Abbey that created it, and it's like a 6-episode series on Netflix, and it's true. It's a true story. The people in the show are actual, like, real historical people, and it shows kind of how the upper class was the one that kind of started soccer, and then it talks about how the working class was, coming up and trying to make money and make a name for themselves playing soccer. So it was really well done. So we watched that. We watched a lot of New Girl as well. So that's
Okay.
kind of what we've been doing.
Great
So
show.
I came into this thing thinking that I was going to be super productive and get a lot done, and
Yeah.
that hasn't happened. But I think for the most part, like, that's okay. Like, we've been able to just relax and, like,
Yeah.
spend time and recuperate. So that's kind of what we've been up to.
Yeah.
So
That's good, man. Yeah, it's interesting of like, it was so interesting to see when this whole thing hit, like how many, social media influencers were like, now's the time to like crush your side hustle and all that. And it's like, now's this time to like stay healthy and inside and
yeah,
smart and wise. And like, if you don't come out of this with your like book fully written or your album fully done or like your entire new brand platform created, it's like, it's okay. Like, it's all right.
yeah,
You know,
exactly.
yeah.
Well, you want to play a
I'm
song for us? We
Dude, I'd
got
love to.
So Ryan's got his guitar. Ryan's going to play some songs. If you've got any requests for Ryan, drop them in the comments, and he can play. I feel like you're like a human jukebox. It's like anybody, whenever you do these things, people request a song, and it's like you know pretty much everything that they request of
Oh
you.
man.
So those who are following, Ryan was my very first guest on my podcast, and the music that you hear whenever the podcast starts is from Ryan as well. So
Yeah.
you have consistently been on every episode of my podcast. So,
Man, that's so cool. I
yeah,
appreciate that. That's
yeah.
awesome.
So Ryan and I have
Love
known each
that.
other. Ryan and I have known each other for about 10 years back in his days of S&C, Straight No Chaser. And, we've just conversed every now and then throughout those 10 years, and grateful for our
Yeah.
friendship. So, why don't
Likewise, man.
you got an album coming out this summer. Tell us about
I
the album that
do.
you have coming out this summer.
Yeah. Sure. So it's called 72, and it's an album of, I think we've got 13 songs from the 70s that have inspired me as a singer and a songwriter. Songs that I cut my teeth on early in life, that was like my parents' era of music that I just fell in love with. Groups like the Eagles, James Taylor. We've got John Denver, of all people, on there. We've got Earth, Wind, and Fire. Like all these awesome songs and artists, Van Morrison, that have inspired me. And so we're calling it 72 because last year I released an album of 80s covers called 81, and that was the year of my birth. And now we just got into this pattern where it's like the decade is the first number and the spot in the series is the second number. So
Right.
81, 72. If we did like everybody wants some 90s music next year, so we call it 93, of course.
Yeah.
We'll see. But this is I'll play an original for you.
All right.
This is an autobiographical song. I grew up in a Navy family, and you'll hear about that a little bit in the song. But I originally thought when I wrote this song that it was about my home state, our home state, even though you're in Kentucky now, of Indiana. But really, it's about my wife, Lauren. And here it is. It's called Indiana. Check it out. I am a man from Indiana. You could even call me a Hoosier boy. But at times I hear the city and her lights call my name, and I leave behind these silos high. See, I was born in sunshine. We moved on out to Stuttgart before making Pascagoula our home. Then we rode our family caravan up North New England town. It was here that we finally settled down. Here in Indiana, I've sunshine sweets, meadows in the autumn lined with gold. Don't sell me California or send postcards from LA, 'cause I've got a perfect angel here at home. I am a pilgrim on this road that we call time, but at least I'm not lonely with my woman by my side. She's beautiful like an evening down just south of Martinsville, when the sun is sinking low behind the hill. Here in Indiana, I've sunshine sweets, meadows in the autumn lined with gold. Don't sell me California or send postcards from LA, 'cause I've got a perfect angel here at home. La da 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 da. La da 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 da. Ooh, ooh, la da 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 da. This music is my heartbeat. These notes run in my blood. These words I sing to you, I sing in love. No, I don't want to stop it. I don't want to fight it. Just want to let love out and breathe you in. Here in Indiana, I've sunshine sweets and meadows in the autumn lined with gold. Don't sell me California or send postcards from LA, 'cause I've got a perfect angel here at home. Yes, I've got a perfect angel here at home.
That's one of my favorites.
There you go, man.
I love all of the
Thanks,
Indiana
man. I appreciate
nostalgic
it.
songs. Like I remember,
Oh, yes.
I don't think you'll remember this, but I remember it was the summer of 2009, and I heard that song for the first time, and I messaged you on Facebook asking for the lyrics to that song, and that's always been one of my favorites. And so,
That's awesome,
yeah,
man.
yeah, I'm glad you played that one. And I always wondered
Well,
because you mentioned like moving out to Stuttgart. I didn't know if that was like a
yep.
fictional story, if that was all true.
No, that's all legit. Yeah. So the line about I was born in sunshine. So I was born in San Diego, California. Then we moved to Stuttgart, Germany, and then Pascagoula, Mississippi. Like literally, I can
Wow.
walk to the Gulf of Mexico from my house. And then all the way up to Newport, Rhode Island, where I spent 3 of the best years of my life, man, third, fourth, and fifth grade up there in New England. It was so much fun. And then moved here to Indiana in like 92, going into sixth grade, and followed my sister's footsteps down to God's country there at IU down in Bloomington. And yeah, man, I've stayed put. I actually live on the same street that I grew up on. Like I knew the original owners of the house that I now own. Like I now own the grass that I used to cut as like a neighborhood kid trying to make like 20 bucks or whatever. I
That's
now own
awesome.
that. Yeah. So I love being a Hoosier, and I love having my roots here, man.
That's awesome. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All those Indiana nostalgic songs are just for somebody like me who was born and raised in Indiana. I mean,
Yeah.
it's easy to connect with those. And I think that's why on the first S&C Christmas album, Indiana Christmas resonates so well. And obviously you did a
Yes.
rendition of
Oh,
that on your latest Christmas
yeah.
album. So, yeah, that's awesome. What,
That song right there, man. That is like all the nostalgia possible in 3.5 minutes of a song. My friend Dan Ponce wrote that. That was actually the first song that when Straight No Chaser got signed to Atlantic Records and we all were able to be around the same piano, the first rehearsal, Dan brought the sheet music. He's, no iPads at that point. He passed out actual sheet music. And he was like, this is a really special song. And I know we all want to get to the 12 Days of Christmas because that's why we got the record deal, but we need to learn this song. And the group still performs it, man, anytime they come through Indiana. And I asked Dan, I was like, dude, could I have your blessing to record this song on my Christmas album that I released last year? And he was like, absolutely, man. And then I was talking with my friend and producer, Matt Mellinger, and we were like, what if we called the album Indiana Christmas? Like, what? Because it's just like, it's who I am, And he was like, I love it. Let's do it. So Dan, of course, was super appreciative of calling the album that too. So I'm glad you like it though, man.
So how did you guys end up settling in Indiana then? If you moved around so much, what made you guys just actually settle there?
Right. Well, my dad was like one of the only Navy people at Fort Benjamin Harrison in Indy. It's like landlocked Indianapolis, and he's a naval officer. So
Wow.
he taught at a school that was on that base, and I think he just decided. He and my mom decided, like, I think the next step would be to go to like DC and kind of play the game of like the promotion game, like, the higher up you go in the military, the fewer spots there are, of course. And especially he was a public affairs officer, so there's even fewer in that spot. And I think he just saw, my older sister get involved with cheerleading at high school and really getting a lot of closer friendships. And I started to fall really in love with the performing arts and choir and made a lot of great close friends there. And I think he just said, you know what, this has been a really good run. I think he retired 1 month shy of 22 years in the service. And so, they just said, listen, we're going to put down roots here. And then really when I got into Straight No Chaser going into IU, that really sealed the deal for me to be like, okay, like I didn't grow up here in Indiana, but I get why everybody raves about it now. And then really, man, just, Fishers, the city that we live in, is one of the best places to raise a family in America. It's one of the best places to own a small business in America. It's one of the safest cities in America. And so I've been really fortunate to have known this city since I was like 12 years old and still call it home and get to do what I do from it, man. And so yeah, we love it. We're itching to get down to Bloomington though, I'll tell you that. Like we were just talking the other day, we're like, the first time when we can go down to Bloomington, take the kids or not, and just, get a beer on Kirkwood somewhere, is going to be a lot of fun.
Western Kentucky is supposed to play IU in football this year at IU.
All right.
So I'm hoping that we have a season because they played there like 4 years ago, and it was such a fun tailgating atmosphere. And so I've been looking forward to that because obviously I've got a lot of friends that are IU fans, and my brother and sister both went to IU. And so it was fun. Like my whole family went up to that game and tailgated, and I'm hoping that the season's not delayed, but I mean, who really knows at this point?
Dude, if the dates work out, let's go.
All right. Yeah. It's
let's do it.
I just looked it up the other day. It's like, it's early September. It's like the second game of the year for Western. I think it's the second game of the year for IU as well. So I'm hoping that we can go to football games and have fans at the games. Cause I mean, there's talk now that, they'll play games without fans. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, who knows what's going to happen between now and then. It's hard to predict it. So
yeah, there's a lot that could change. Certainly. We saw it change as quickly as it did. Like not even 2 months ago.
Yep.
I mean, I feel like this has just been like one long day.
Yeah.
Like just a long day.
Yeah.
I don't even know what week we're on of quarantine. I think it's like the 8th week of quarantine. I don't even know.
I don't know either. My wife and I were talking today. This is the second week in a row that we have felt it's Thursday, and this is the second week in a row that we thought Thursday was Friday. So our days are completely off, and I don't know what, like, it's just, there's no like structure to our lives right now because we're just we're still like, I'm able to work from home, which is nice, but it's still like it throws me off that I'm just not used to my normal rhythms. So
I know, man. Yeah, that's funny.
So if you guys just joined us, Ryan is playing some songs or just hanging out talking about life. And he has taken some requests as well. So if you've got any requests, drop them in the comments. We did have a request for Fire and Rain by James Taylor by my buddy Corey Lannert, who just tuned in. So
all right, well, perfect timing.
And those of you who don't know Ryan is a huge James Taylor fan.
Yeah,
and I think that's even an understatement, actually.
I'll show you my I'll aim the camera there. That is a signed album, my favorite JT album. It's his Sweet Baby James record, and
nice.
I got it signed by him at a concert in India a while back. So yeah, what did you say your friend's name was? Corey,
yep.
All right, Corey, here's Fire and Rain for you, man. Just yesterday morning, they let me know you were gone. Suzanne, the plans they made put an end to you. Walked out this morning and I wrote down this song. I just can't remember who to send it to. I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again. Won't you look down upon me, Jesus? Gotta help me make a stand. You just gotta see me through another day. My body's aching, my time is at hand, and I won't make it any other way. Oh, I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days thought would never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you again. I've been walking my mind through uneasy times, my back turned towards the sun. Lord knows when the cold wind blows, it'll turn your head around. Well, there's hours of time on the telephone line, talking about things to come. Sweet dreams and flying machines and pieces on the ground. Oh, I've seen fire and I've seen rain. I've seen sunny days, thought they'd never end. I've seen lonely times when I could not find a friend. But I always thought that I'd see you one more time again now. Thought I'd see you one more time, Suzanne. There's just a few things coming my way this time around now. Thought I'd see you, fire and rain. La 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 la. Oh. There you go, Corey. A little JT for you, man. Some
nice.
Old school JT.
Yeah.
What a good tune, man. He knows how to write them, that's for sure.
So tell us the story. You got to have somebody that played in James Taylor's band on your Christmas album. What was the story behind that?
Yeah, so this was really cool. Actually, a couple songs before that, and he also played on the Christmas album, but his name's Clifford Carter, and he's been JT's longtime piano player since like the early 80s, mid 80s. And still will occasionally, do some private corporate stuff with them and all that. But he's out in New York City, and I've seen Clifford in James Taylor's concerts when they were on VHS when I was in high school. I'm like would memorize the name of the band, and all that. And one of the first tours that Straight No Chaser did, it was more of a promotional tour. we got the chance to sing at, I think they still have it. It's called Christmas in Washington. And, the president and first lady, the vice president are there and all that. And it's in this beautiful, beautiful space. And it's sound check. I look over uh, at the orchestra that's backing everybody up except us, because we're an a cappella group. And I'm like, holy crap, that dude at the piano is Clifford Carter. Like, that's Clifford Carter. I recognized him immediately. And so I hit up my buddy Mike Luganbill, who's also in the group, and he knows immediately too, because he's a huge JT fan too. And so we go up to him and we're fangirling at this point, and I'm like, play it cool, like he's just one of us, And so we exchange info, and he's like, listen, I'd love to come to your shows anytime you guys are in New York. That's where I am. And if all that happened would have been that interaction, it would have been fine. Okay. But what's cool is, like, Clifford showed up every time we were in New York. And there have been many full circle moments with Cliff. Like, we got to invite him to our show at the Beacon Theater in New York, which he was on stage in a James Taylor concert that we, like, memorized in high school. And so that was really full circle. And then basically when after I left the group and started recording my own music, my producer, Matt, was like, all right, man, what are we recording? And I was like, well, it's kind of random, but I've had this song about Paul Revere. It's called Granary, which is the name of the cemetery that he's buried at in Boston. And it's kind of this cool James Taylor-y kind of song. And it was actually inspired by a James Taylor song called The Frozen Man. And he's like, well, let me hear it. And so immediately we're like, we got to record this tune, right? And I'm like, man, it'd be really cool to have Clifford Carter, who played on the James Taylor song that inspired it, to play on this song. And he's like, you think he'd pick up the phone? I'm like, I don't know. It's been like 5 years. And sure enough, Clifford and I picked up right where we left off. And we actually just spoke yesterday for like an hour. We have these great conversations. We're becoming friends now, which is just crazy. But yeah, he's going to play on Carolina in My Mind by James Taylor on my 70s album. And I've got him in my mind. Man, this was funny. Like, the other day I was thinking, I'm like, I wonder if the opportunity presents itself, if Clifford could at least play the recording for James Taylor, or one step further, which my head might explode, is have JT sing on the recording on his own song. I'm like, you know what? Why not? Like, what does he have going on right now? He's got nothing going on. It's his song.
Yeah.
I don't know. So, dude, who knows? Maybe it'll happen. We'll see.
How much would that mean to you to get JT on one of your songs?
It would be, I would never have to do another concert or write another song. It would be the summit, man. No, but seriously, that I've had like a bucket list item on my bucket list to sing in James Taylor's band since I was like 15 years old. And so what I'm realizing is, like, all these, like, you could look at it and say, like, oh, that's totally coincidental, like, that's so random. But I'm like, no, it's really not. Like, the fact that I'm talking with this dude Cliff, who's played with everybody, who's like one person away from my biggest songwriting hero, I'm like, I don't think that's coincidence. Who knows what'll happen with it, man? Like, I'm just glad that Cliff and I are now, growing even more in our friendship. And, like, he's asking me questions about, like, releasing music, and I'm like, this is weird, and cool at the same time. But it would mean a lot. It would be insane. It would be absolutely insane. So we'll see. Who knows, man? Who knows?
That's awesome. Yeah. So guys, if you check the up in the description of this video, you will see a few links. I have a podcast, which we mentioned at the beginning. If you just joined in, Ryan contributed the music. That is the theme song for the podcast, and was also my first guest. Would love for you to go listen to that episode and all the other episodes. We're now at episode 30, coming up on 30. And then also,
that's awesome. First of all,
I can't believe that I've done this.
Congratulations, man.
I think somebody told me the goal for a podcast is to at least get to 50. So I'm halfway there, but
I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah, no, I'm thrilled. I've had a lot of awesome guests on there. I've had NFL quarterback Dan Orlovsky on there. I've had other professional athletes. I've had other musicians. I've had a lot of great authors on the show. So I mean, it's been a lot of fun. And then on Monday, I just launched a weekly newsletter, which is going to include a weekly devotional, just some hopefully some encouraging words for not just this time that we're living in, but going forward as well. And then any events like this one that I have coming up will be in there as well. So there's a link for people to subscribe to that as well. I'd love for you guys to do that. And then we've got some links from Ryan as well. So Ryan, you typically play at a steakhouse in Carmel every week. Obviously, with COVID-19 happening, those shows have been canceled. So you have been doing a lot of Facebook concerts on Wednesdays and Friday nights, and maybe even other nights. I don't even know. But there is a virtual tip jar that you can tip Ryan for some of his music tonight. And then I'll let you talk about it because I know this is your deal. But Ryan is on Patreon. So Ryan, tell us about Patreon and what people will get if they contribute and join your Patreon.
Yeah, so think about it as a musical or as a monthly subscription to be in my music. And there's over, I think there's close to like 400,000 different artists and creators of all types who use platform as an opportunity to connect with communities of their most loyal fans and followers. And it's been awesome, man. Like over the past, I think 6 weeks, 68 new patrons have joined my community, one of which is sitting right here in front of me.
That's right.
So thank you, Cole.
Yeah.
And your brother.
And Josh, yeah.
One of the live, I love that in one of the live streams you're like, we're getting the whole Claiborne family signed up.
I texted my whole family
so
tonight
funny.
for this, so I hope they join in and watch. I think Josh is here watching.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Josh. But yeah, it's I've been doing it for almost 3 years, and it's awesome, man. So like you can join for as little as $3 a month. I've got patrons who give over $150 a month. But kind of that sweet spot is like $15 a month that people are willing to share with me. And in return, I give them all kinds of access to me and my creative process. We just did, was it last night? What day is it? It's Thursday. So yeah, Wednesday night. I've got a private group that I do live stream Q&As and storytelling sessions where we just went through my very first album that I ever did in like 2006 and shared the stories behind the songs. I shared like, check this out. This is a bar napkin that I wrote lyrics on.
That's so old school. I love it.
Holly.
I love that.
Oh, dude, yeah. It's like that's rock and roll right there. But yeah, so and you get like discounts on merch and cool swag and all that. But besides that, it's this community, man, where it is so encouraging to me as an independent artist who I wear a lot of different hats. It's like the singer-songwriter, the voice actor, the radio host. There's a lot of stuff going on, the live performer. And it's so encouraging to see this community from all over the world, man. I've got patrons in Ireland and the UK and Canada and the US, working on Asia, working on Africa, working on Australia.
Yeah.
But it's so cool, man, just to see the support that they give me. So if you enjoy my music, if you've been a fan of my music for 10 years or 20 minutes, you can check that out at ryansongs.com. There's a lot of stuff about Patreon there that you can learn more about what it's all about.
Yeah, I don't know why it took so long. I think I thought I was subscribed to your Patreon, then I realized that I wasn't, and I was like, well, I need to change that because I thought I did it a long time ago. So anyway,
good,
I'm on board now, and so is Josh.
You're on board, baby.
I think you can talk about this from a musician's perspective, but I just feel like nowadays there's so much more access from fans to their artists that they like. And I think obviously in some cases that can be a bad thing, but I think for the most part, that's a really cool thing. And from your perspective, and you can even think back to maybe in the early 2000s, whenever you were with Straight No Chaser, and just maybe just starting to make music, how has that dynamic between you and your fans changed just by things like Patreon and social media? And what have you found to be the benefit of that?
I've always loved connecting, not just on stage with audiences, but after shows, man. I was like the guy that the other 9 guys would have to like drag from the lobby and be like, dude, let's go. That's just who I am. I mean, I come from a very painfully extroverted family. We're just like, we're constantly meeting new people and it's fun. And one of the joys that I love to do is see the connections between patrons starting to happen, where I was just in I call it the green room. So is the name of the group on Facebook where all my patrons hang out. Green was my nickname in the group because I made it when I was like 17 years old and I was just super green. But also the green room is where artists, and entertainers just hang out, and it's kick your feet up, be yourself. And so
Yeah.
that's what I really wanted to foster in this community. And so for me, man, it's nothing new connecting with fans of my music, but I think it's just scaled it. It's just amplified it even more, or maybe deepened it is the better word, where I'm on there every single day, man. Like I love connecting with my patrons on Marco Polo.
Yeah.
So like one of the tiers of support, I can't remember which one it is, but like you get an invite to connect with me literally whenever you want on Marco Polo. And I'm in daily communication with people who started by either, the whole Straight No Chaser thing, like they were fans of the group, fans of my independent music. But these people have become my friends now.
Yeah.
And what's cool is like friendships are starting to happen within the community. And so it centers around me and my music, but I'm just I'm just as delighted seeing other people connect on things that totally aren't related to me and my music as I am when people are like, "Hey, I love this song," or "Have you thought about doing this song?" And so another cool perk about the Patreon community, if you're thinking about becoming a patron, is that you get my album before anyone else does. You get one patron in particular is like, "Send me everything, like the rawest." Like I want to
The
see,
demo,
like,
the
just
very first demo.
yeah, like seriously, like prop your phone up in the studio and just let me watch and observe the boring, tedious stuff. She just loves that,
Yeah.
and so we do. And so it's like I want to give them the access that I wish that I could have had as a young kid learning guitar,
Oh yeah.
being like, looking at my, my idols of music, of musicians, and trying to pick their brain and all that. So for me, man, it hasn't changed necessarily my desire to connect. It's just, it's just deepened it and it's grown it.
That's awesome. I love that. Yeah,
Thanks,
that's
man. Yeah.
the my email list that I started. I think part of that too is I want to be able to show people my writing process because I'm always super into
Yeah.
the process. Like whenever I've asked our
Yeah.
artists on this show, whether they're a musician or a writer, I love hearing about the process of how they started. Whether like for you, a song or an album, and then since I'm writing my own book, I've loved talking to our authors about how did you get from your idea to putting it on paper, because it's if you haven't done it before, like even for me, like I'm writing for the first time,
Yeah.
I've been learning a lot just from talking to authors. So I would I would love to have that kind of behind the scenes access as well. So I'm kind of just
Yeah.
hoping to provide people like, hey, here's what I'm doing. I don't really know if it's
Yeah.
foolproof or the right thing, but here's what I'm doing and this is what makes sense to me. So I
Well,
think it's awesome.
it can feel a little weird trying things out that aren't fully baked
Yeah.
in front of an audience, like there's a vulnerability, there's an exposure that artists feel. And this is why you hear about the super sensitive, insecure, like artists, that like somewhere in all of us there's that need for external validation or affirmation. um and if anyone tells you that they don't need that, then I'm like, maybe deep down you do. Otherwise it's like no one just picks up the guitar to be like, I just love this thing, man, I don't need anyone to hear these songs.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, I want as many people to hear this and think it's awesome as possible.
I totally agree. And Emily and I were talking about that idea the other day because one of our favorite podcasters, Annie Downs, was
Yeah.
talking about that. A lot of people will say like, well, if your song reaches just one person, that's really good. Or for her, they're like, if your book reaches just one person, that's really good. She's like, I don't believe that. She's like, I want everybody to read this. I want everybody to
Mhm.
hear it. Cause like, if you believe in what you're producing, you
Yeah.
want everybody to hear it. So yeah,
Yes.
I mean, like
Yes.
shout it from the rooftop, shout it from the mountaintops, because you want people to hear what you're
Amen.
creating. Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
absolutely, man. Yeah.
So we had a request for "I'll Fly Away" from the Malibu EP,
Oh, wow.
way
Oh
back.
my gosh.
So
That back way back. Yeah.
this is one of your first
Oh my
albums.
gosh. Yeah.
This
So
is from
this was
Sonia.
uh is it Sonia Sengfong?
Yes.
Yeah, so Sonia is she's a diehard Straight No Chaser fan, and she's been a patron for a while as well. She's out in Salem, Oregon. And shout out to Sonia if she's still watching.
Hopefully she's still
The
watching.
Malibu EP. Yeah, of course. I gotta just tune up. So I wrote this, well, I didn't write the song, it's an old hymn. But I put the album together when I got invited to play guitar This is a true story. For a month out in British Columbia, Canada, like 2 months before my wedding. Okay.
Oh.
And Lauren, my wife, God love her, she knew how excited I was. She's like, just make sure your tuxes fit and all your guys are on time. I'll handle everything else. Go have fun. And so it was a Young Life camp. And I didn't know this at the time, but like Malibu is like the crown jewel of Young Life camp properties. If you're on staff, it's like, oh, I just want to go to Malibu and have my assignment there. This was my first one. Like my friend who became my boss later when I went on staff with Young Life, he pulled some strings that there was someone who dropped out last minute and they needed someone. He's like, you play guitar, right? And I was like, yeah. He goes, you want to go to Malibu? And I'm like, I don't know what that is, but sure. And so my friend Andrew Landau, who was in Straight No Chaser at the time, he was like, dude, you need a CD to sell at the camp. And so I called it the Malibu EP, and half the tracks are originals and half the tracks are old hymns like this one for Sonia. This is I'll Fly Away. I love this song. Good request. Some glad morning when this life is over, I'll fly away to that home on God's celestial shores. I'll fly away. Oh, I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. When the shadows of this life have gone, I'll fly away. Like a bird from these prison walls, I'll fly away. Oh, I'll fly away, oh glory, I'll fly away in the morning. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Just a few more weary days and then I'll fly away to a land where joy will never end. I'll fly away, yeah. Oh, I'll fly away, oh glory. I'll fly away in the morning. When I die, hallelujah, by and by, I'll fly away. Oh, I'll fly away. Oh, I'll fly away. Oh, man, that's a fun one. That's like old school Southern gospel. I love that kind of music, man. I love that music.
Sonia was still watching. She said, I just upped my monthly membership to $15 a month to your Patreon.
What? Oh, Sonia, thank you so much. You're awesome. Love you, friend. That's so cool. Thank you.
And Rebecca Harper said, dude, I forgot about this. I'll be requesting this in the TRLs.
Rebecca's out in Maryland, and she and her son Josh watch the Total Ryan Live is what we're calling it.
Yeah.
She's awesome too, man. She actually, dude, this is what's cool. One of the things that's cool about Rebecca is she drove all the way out. Now, granted, there were other stops along the way, but she came to a public, like a farmer's market acoustic show that I had in my hometown of Fishers, Indiana. She drove all the way from the East Coast. She and her son Josh and the dog that they were fostering at the time. That was pretty cool too. And they stuck around. She made a T-shirt. Like I was floored, bro. It was like 98 degrees outside, and I'm like, I know I'm suffering up here in the shade. Like I feel bad, so bad for everybody out there. But like I was just floored by that, man. That's who my patrons are, man. They show up, man. They're just awesome.
That's great. My dad is on this live stream.
Yeah.
He said, didn't think anybody could do it, but Ryan's version is better than Jars of Clay.
What? Wow, that's a huge compliment.
That is.
Lauren jokes, my wife Lauren jokes that the only song that I could play on guitar, and it wasn't even a full song, like when we first started dating was oh man, what is that song? Flood.
Yeah.
I can't swim after 40 days. Like that was the only tune that I knew from like my youth group days. And I'm sitting on my porch in Bloomington trying to like impress a potential new girlfriend with half of Flood by Jars of Clay. It was like I have no game whatsoever, but it worked. It worked. But
Man, that's like
man,
Jars of Clay. That takes me back. That's like late
dude,
90s, early 2000s
yes,
contemporary Christian music. That was good
dude, that
stuff.
blue CD. I think it was just called Jars of Clay, maybe.
Yeah.
Love Song for a Savior is a great jam on there.
Yeah.
It's not a great jam. It's a good song. It's a good song.
It's a good song. Yeah.
Yeah, that whole album, man. I gotta dig that back up, man. I haven't listened to that one in a long time.
That's a blast from the past for sure.
Yeah, I love that. Well, hello to your father who's on here and
I
your
know.
brother. That's amazing.
I told you we're trying to get the whole Claiborne family on here. So my mother-in-law is on here. Emily's in the other room watching. So yeah,
Dude,
shout out
so
to my
great.
family.
Come on now. Look at how much support and
I
love
know.
you're getting though. Like that's so cool.
And my brother-in-law just joined. How about that? So
Come on now. Love that. Love
all
that.
right. So
That's
we got
great.
a request for Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash.
Oh man, Ring of Fire is a good too. Who requested that one?
Corey Lannert again. He's coming in with the awesome requests.
He's coming in hot with a couple of requests
tonight.
I know. Ring of Fire. Yeah, I could probably do that. I know 2 Johnny Cash songs, and they're Folsom Prison Blues and Ring of Fire. But yeah, let's see. Love's a burning thing. Yeah, we could work it out. All right, Corey, let me give this a shot. Love is a burning thing, makes a fiery ring, bound by wild desire. I fell into a ring of fire. I fell into a burning ring of fire. Went down, 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 and the flames went higher. And it burns, burns, burns. The ring of fire, the ring of fire. It's getting kind of low there. Right, let's try the second verse. Taste of love is sweet when hearts like ours meet. I fell for you like a child. Ooh, but the fire went wild. I fell into a burning ring of fire. Went down, down, down. The flames went higher. It burns, burns, burns. The ring of fire. The ring of fire. The ring of fire.
Nice.
Man, good request. Good request. That's actually conveniently in the same key, Cole, as Indiana Summertime, which I know that was and still is your jam.
That is my eternal request. Which so the theme song on my podcast actually is you probably won't recognize it as Indiana Summer.
Right.
It's kind of a new revamped version of Indiana Summer.
It's definitely a chilled out, more smooth like podcast intro
for
Indiana Summertime.
I never actually talked to you about this. I mean, I asked you if I could use that song, and you were trying to find the old version of that audio, and you were like, "Why don't I just remake something?" How did you come up with the audio for this? Because I never really actually talked to you about it. I just was like, "Hey, this is awesome. Thank you."
For like the new version that I did.
Yeah.
I think I don't know. I was just trying to like, this is something that I've learned from like voiceover work, like trying to know the audience that's going to hear it and trying to think of like, I needed to mellow it out because the original version is super strummy and driving. And I'm like, the whole title of the podcast is In No Hurry. So I'm like,
so you can't be in a hurry with the tempo of the song.
No, not at all. So I had to chill it out. That's actually what we're doing a lot on my new record is like trying to reinterpret, like we did Take It Easy, which is, originally
you were taking it easy on Taking It Easy.
Took it easy. Yeah, like Jerome Collins, my buddy from SNC, he's like, man, you're like the king of like the mid tempo of like, he's like, we ain't got no fast songs in the Ahlwardt house, do we? But yeah, man, I think I just wanted to kind of reinterpret one of my own tunes and kind of match the vibe of what the podcast what I think you might have maybe wanted people to feel like from the instant that they start listening to it. Man, that was like a huge honor for you to ask me, like, hey, kind of going out on a limb here. I love this song. Would you consider letting me borrow it? And then I think I remember I wanted to like patch up the audio a little bit, and then I just couldn't find it. So I was like, well, let's get creative. And
Yeah.
I'm glad you enjoy the new version though, dude.
No, I kept saying to my wife, I was like, every time that I edit an episode and I hear the intro, I always want it to be like its own actual song. Like
Yeah, right.
I want it to be like, I want to hear some words and hear some other like verses to it. So
Yeah, yeah.
I love it. And I hope people that listen to the podcast like it too. Cause
I do too, man.
I always come in on the intro at the same exact spot. So now it's like, every time I hear it, it's like, I know like we're not supposed to come in and sing. So,
That's cool, man. That's cool.
yeah. All right. So we got a couple more requests. We
Okay.
have an old Straight No Chaser song request.
Okay.
I'll Walk With You.
Oh
So
my gosh.
I don't know if you could play this on guitar since it was I guess you can, but Marilyn
Yeah.
Behrman
Marilyn
requests.
Bierman. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I could absolutely do anything for Marilyn. Marilyn is like the honorary like den mother of all members past, present, and future of Straight No Chaser.
Oh, wow. Okay.
She was with us from the original day that that the group was signed, or not signed, but sponsored by the IU Alumni Association.
Wow.
Marilyn's just an amazing lady. So yes, for Marilyn Bierman, this is a song by a group called Rockapella that I remember listening to in high school as a kid, just listening to all their music. But this is I'll Walk With You. Check it out. I'll walk this road, dodging the wind and the ground. Why am I still surprised? Yeah, my feet make no sound. My love, my friend, if ever the road breaks in two, if ever you're drifting and the hoping wears you down, I'll walk with you. And when you're weak, I'll hold you dear. When twilight dawns and leaves are down, and when you cry, I'll be your tears. With every step, I'll be your ground. Oh yeah. My soul was poor, a babe left at your door. But now I'm grown, I'm strong from your embrace. With love, I'm so sure I can do anything. And when you're weak, I'll hold you dear. When twilight dawns and leaves are down, and when you cry, I'll be your tears. With every step, I'll be your ground. Oh, 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 my love. As sure as the blue rain gonna rise, yeah. As sure as the red sun burns the years into these eyes, I'll walk with you. And when you walk, I'll walk with you. Always my love, when dreams are down. And when you fly, I'll fly with you. Oh man, such a good song. That was the first song that I sang solo on in Straight No Chaser when I made the group when I was like 17 years old. And the story goes, so I was given the second verse, okay? And my friend Mike Itkoff, a founding member, who that was his last concert, he carried the rest of the tune, right? And there was a point in the there's a point in the song where I do my verse and I do my chorus, and my mom and my sister and my dad lose their minds because they'd never really heard me sing that way before. And going into the bridge, literally the last note that I could have sung, my voice just cracks epically. It's like I hit puberty on that note.
This is on YouTube, isn't it? I think this video is on YouTube.
I think it's somewhere. But the way that the song is, like Mike Itkoff came in as I was kind of cracking and becoming a man. He sang like right on top of my note. So like the audio engineer, our producer Dave Weber, who's produced like everything that the group has put out, he saved the day, man, on the recording. You don't hear it on the recording. But those guys to this day have never let me live that down. So
that's awesome.
That was our walk with you for Marilyn.
Marilyn said she was there whenever your voice cracked.
And she loves me just the same. Thank you, Marilyn. Oh, she's the best, man.
Do you got time for a couple more songs? Are you?
Yeah.
All
I
right.
got time for a couple more. I love that we got requests, man. That's so fun. What
Yeah.
else we got?
Okay, so Gail requested earlier, and I didn't know. I tried to ask her to clarify it, but she said, "You've got a friend or soldier," and I assume it's the Gavin DeGraw Soldier.
Yeah.
So
I can do Soldier. I can do both those tunes, but I'll do Soldier since that was a tune that I arranged. I knew the first time I heard this song. So Segi Isho, my buddy who's still in the group, he and I were both big Gavin DeGraw fans, but he had heard his album that this is on. I think it's the Sweeter album. He had heard it before me, and he was like, "Dude, you got to hear this song." And so I fell in love with it the first time I heard it, and I was like, "I'm arranging this for the group." And we put it on the album that ended up being my last album. But is this Gail Lee, by the way?
Yep.
Yeah, she's a patron as well.
Awesome.
Gail Lewandowski. This is Soldier by Gavin DeGraw. Check this one out, guys. Here we go. Where did all the people go? They got scared when the lights went low. I'll get you through it nice and slow when the world's spinning out of control. Afraid of what they might lose, might get scraped or they might get bruised. You could beg them, what's the use? That's why it's called a moment of truth. I'll get it if you need it. I'll search if you can't see it. You're thirsty, I'll be rain. You get hurt, I'll take your pain. I know you don't believe it, but I said it and I still mean it. When you heard what I told you, when you get worried, I'll be a soldier. Funny when times get hard, at the last moment when you're supposed to charge. Always on the longest yard, oh, to feel the feet getting cold, yeah. Hiding here, hiding there, hide 'em underneath the stairs. People hiding everywhere, trying to be still as a stone. But I'll get it if you need it. I'll search if you don't see it. You're thirsty, I'll be rain. You get hurt, I'll take your pain. I know you don't believe it, but I said it and I still mean it. When you heard what I told you, when you get worried, I'll be a soldier. My aim is so true, I want to show you. I'll try forever, I'm never gonna say surrender. I'll get it if you need it. I'll search if you don't see it. You're thirsty, I'll be rain. You get hurt, I'll take your pain. I know you don't believe it, but I said it and I still mean it. When you heard what I told you, when you get worried, I'll be a soldier. There you go,
Very
Gail.
nice.
Thanks, bro. I got the chance to meet Gavin DeGraw. This was another one of those moments like that I would mention earlier. If you stayed on this long, thank you. Um, when I saw Clifford Carter, I'm like, oh my gosh, that's Clifford Carter. I need to go talk to that dude. So one of the hotels that we always stayed at in New York when we were doing like press or a gig or something. It's called the Empire Hotel. It's kind of on the Upper West Side of town by Juilliard. Really cool hotel. It's got a really cool lobby bar. And I look over and this dude's on his phone all alone, just sitting there at a chair, and it's Gavin DeGraw. And I'm like, dude, I've written songs about, I've got a song called the Little Peace Song. And the first verse is just a wheel number 5 in the middle of a live rock show. Had to go hear this cat that's on the radio singing about a chariot that's on fire. It's like I put Gavin DeGraw into one of my songs. I went to one of his concerts like years ago and came home and was so inspired that I wrote a song that like, what's my version of a Gavin song? And
Yeah.
so I had just, we had just recorded Soldier and all that. And I went up to him, man. I'm like, listen, man, I've been a fan of yours for a long time. My name's Ryan. I love your music. I'm from this group, Straight No Chaser. And he's like, wait, you guys did my song Soldier recently, didn't you? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, dude, thank you for honoring me so much. That was such a killer arrangement. Like, thank you, man. That sounded awesome. And I'm like, what's happening right now? Like, I was like, yeah, I did that arrangement. He's like, dude. And so he's like, let me give you your number, man. Let's, I got this thing I got to go to, but let's get a drink after. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, no one was around to witness it. And so to this day, I've still got Gavin's number in my phone, and he never showed up later that night, but but I still have the story, man. It was just cool. Like, it was one of those moments to be like, there was 1 second where I was like, I think I'm just gonna let him be. I don't want to be
Yeah.
that guy. But he was so kind and gracious, and I was also like, dude, when else am I gonna get this opportunity to tell another musical hero of mine how much his music means to me? And just leave it at that. Not ask for anything. Just say, I love your music, and I've been inspired by it. And the fact that he had heard his song arranged by me with the guys, it was just like this. It was such a cool moment, man. Like, those are the times when people are like, what do you miss about being in the group? Like, I miss the guys, of course. I miss
Yeah.
being around the guys as much as I used to be. But it's those kind of run-ins. It's those kind of stories that, like, the access that being in a group like we were in could give me and give others that were in that group. That yeah, man. So fun Gavin DeGraw story there.
Well, this is a great segue into another. My wife just sent a request in. So Gavin DeGraw,
Okay.
his song was one of his songs was the theme song for One Tree Hill. Did you ever watch One Tree Hill?
I was aware of One Tree Hill.
Okay.
This was it I don't wanna
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
having another bad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that show was shot and filmed in Wilmington, North Carolina,
Okay.
and Emily and I were huge One Tree Hill fans, and
Yeah.
so we took a trip to Wilmington the winter of 2016, and I decided that I wanted to propose to her in Wilmington, and
Dude,
so
that's awesome.
so I proposed to her at a spot that was a popular filming location on the show, and
Okay.
I had compiled a video for her
Yeah, you
with
did.
with some of her friends and some of my friends, where they were talking about, like, our relationship and our friendship with them and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so the song that I played on that video was Can't Help Falling in Love with You. And so
Oh
she has
man.
requested that song. She said, Can't Help Falling in Love with You next, please. Cole had this playing when he proposed. So
Okay.
I played the new Haley Reinhart version
I
of
haven't
it.
heard the Haley Reinhart version of that.
So it's pretty good. But yeah, that's Emily's request. So
Okay. Well, you got to keep the wife happy. So,
yeah.
yeah, I can do that one for you, Emily. I thought you were gonna ask for me to play "I Don't Want to Be," and I'm like, that's a random song to play as you're proposing
No,
to your
I
wife.
had a much more meaningful song. Then our first
That's
dance
funny.
song is actually, I had the lyrics on a poster in our room. It's "Forever Like That" by Ben Rector. So
I haven't heard that one. I love Ben Rector though. I gotta
oh
check that
yeah.
out. Okay, this one's for Emily. Yeah, we can work it out. Here we go. Um, Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you. Shall I stay? Would it be a sin if I can't help falling in love with you? Like a river flows surely to the sea. Sorry, darling, so it goes. Some things, there it is, are meant to be. Take my hand, take my whole life too, for I can't help falling in love with you. For I can't help falling in love with you. And I haven't played that one in a while, Emily. So apologies on the random bridge that goes out of the original key. I hope you guys enjoyed that. That was fun. I bet that was a very special moment as you were
Yes.
dropping to one knee.
Yeah, I was super worried because it had poured down rain the day before, and I will say I'm pretty impressed with myself because I don't know a single person in Wilmington, North Carolina, but I found a photographer through Instagram.
Nice.
I just searched Wilmington on Instagram and I found a photographer.
Yeah.
Booked her the night before. We were staying in Asheville, and I thought, you know what, Emily loves sunflowers. Not only would it be great to have sunflowers there, but I could have the photographer stage the sunflowers so that I know where to stand.
Wow, that's like PhD level proposal.
Yes.
That's
So
amazing.
so she she somehow got, I ended up having to pay because I proposed to Emily in December. So I had to pay quite a bit of money to get these sunflowers because they were out of season, which I was fine with. I was like, if I'm ever going to pay a lot for sunflowers,
do it for your
now
proposal.
is the time. So this woman got sunflowers, put them in vases. Her husband got some nice wooden boxes to set them on. And so basically it was like stage blocking. So I knew where to stand.
That's
amazing. So I said, hey, put them where you think would be the best photo spot. I'll go to the middle of those. So we were driving down. So back up, we show up to our Airbnb, and I had communicated with our Airbnb host. I said, hey, I'm planning to propose to my wife, and I would love your help. I know you don't know me at all, but I would love to take her to, there's a spot in the show called the River Court. It's like where a bunch of scenes happen. It's a basketball court by actually a river, and it's a very famous spot on the show. Well, they've since taken up the asphalt and the basketball goal, so it's just a field now, but the location is still there. And I said, hey, I would love to take Emily to the River Court. I'm planning to propose to her there. Can you help us out? I said, can you like make it act like you love to give your guests a tour of Wilmington? And she's like, yeah, sure, no problem. So we show up, and I had to somehow convince Emily to change into a nice dress because we had just driven like 4 or 5 hours or more that day to get to Wilmington because we were driving from Asheville. And she's like, why do I need to put nice clothes on? I was like, well, we're going to go to a nice dinner afterward, which wasn't a lie because I was like, we're going to go to a dinner after we proposed. So she puts on a nice outfit. I had some nice clothes on, and you have to drive down this long roadway. And as we're pulling up, I can see the photographer and I can see the flowers already. And so my mind's racing. Nice. And so I was worried because it poured down rain the day before that. So the ground was all mushy, but we pull in there and Emily sees the flowers and she goes, why are there flowers there? And I didn't even say anything, but the girl driving the car, who was our Airbnb host, she said, oh, I think they set those up there as like a memorial for like where the court was. I think like fans bring those there. And I was like, rock star, thank you.
Immediate 5-star rating.
Yeah. So the photographer's like, I'll just be there acting like I'm taking pictures of my kid and with my husband. So like she just looks like she's a random person in the park. So we start walking out there, and Emily's like, what's the deal? Why are there flowers there? And I was like, I don't know. So I take her to the middle of where it was like in between these two boxes. I said, okay, so I lied. I know why the flowers are here. And I said, I want to show you something. And I played the video. And so the video is like 3 or 4 minutes long. And then got down on one knee and proposed. Boom. Yeah, it was great.
Awesome.
It was awesome. Yeah,
that's a great story. I love the the teamwork and the collaboration, like the clandestine agreement, like
I
with the
was
Airbnb
so
host.
I wasn't nervous, obviously, about what she was going to say. I
Right.
wanted it to work out the way that I had planned it, because like you plan that hopefully one time in your life, and
Yes.
I wanted it to go well, and it did. And we got pictures. The woman had great pictures, and she even did like a mini engagement shoot with us afterward.
Dude, that's
So
huge.
it was great. Yeah.
I love that story, dude. Lauren always gives me grief, and rightfully so, that I never got down on my knee because where we were was on a decline. We were on a hill at the Indianapolis Art Museum, and like I was I was higher up on the hill than her, and so if I had gotten on a knee, it would have been like super awkward. And but she's like, you know, you never dropped the knee and proposed to me. So today, as our kids were like screaming their heads off at the same time, and we've been under quarantine for however long we have, I just like dropped on a ring or dropped on a knee and like put her, you know, and she's like in a sweatshirt and her hair is all messy bun, you know, and I'm just like, I still choose you, and like super
That's
melodramatic. And she's like, oh, what's this? Finally getting on a knee, huh? Like that's never happened. I was like,
yeah,
stop.
that's
But
awesome.
that's a great engagement story, man. I love
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
Like
I was excited.
your grandkids are gonna be hype about that
Well, it's
moment.
awesome. Like whenever we go and watch One Tree Hill now, I'm like, that's where I proposed.
Boom, right there.
So yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm glad we did it. I'm glad I did it that way.
I love that, man. That's
Yeah.
cool. How long have you guys been married?
We just passed 2 years in December, so we're
Cool.
2.5 years.
Gosh, you're
Which
still newlyweds, bro.
I know it feels like we just got married, but
Yeah,
it,
that's the
two
right answer, by the way. That's the
yeah.
right answer.
Well, 2 years, like it's crazy to think we've even been married for 2 years, but yeah, it'll, 3 years coming up this year, which is crazy to think about it. But
I love it, man. That's cool.
uh, all right, so Ryan and I had talked about being on here for about an hour, and we're coming up already a little bit past that. So
Yeah.
let's close it out with some Indiana summertime.
Dude, I was just gonna say, like, if someone had a request, I'd be like, "Is it okay if I play another one?" All right, Cole, this is for you. So the story behind this one, I wrote this tune driving down from Fishers. So this is when I was living at home after school, and I would still gig in Bloomington. And I was driving down to a show. I think it was either at the Bird or they had a place called the Walnut Street Tap at the time. It was like just a late night, and this song was written in the car, and I played it that night. Like I wrote the lyrics and the tune in my head on the way down, and then as I was setting up for my show, I was like, okay, what are the chords, and figured them out and debuted it that night. And this is called Indiana Summertime. This is for you, Cole. Thanks for having me on, bro. And this goes out to any Hoosiers in the house tonight. I'm headed down 37, rocking my aviators. I got my sunroof back, a sunflower snap. Martinsville, see you later. 'Cause I'm headed down to my B-town, where I'm gonna sing my songs. I'm picturing you with a buddy or two, helping me sing along. 'Cause it's the summertime, feeling fine tonight, waiting for somebody to sing. Sha-la-la-la-la. Come on, everybody, it's the summertime, feeling fine tonight, waiting for somebody to say, sha-la-la-la-la. It's an Indiana summertime. Well, I'm thinking about pulling over, snapping myself some pictures, so whenever I'm growing older, I'll say, Bloomington, baby, I miss you. But there's no time for that. Got my foot on the gas, and it's about 10:30. I'm picturing you with a buddy or two, helping me sing again. 'Cause it's the summertime, feeling fine tonight, waiting for somebody to say, sha-la-la-la-la. Come on, everybody, it's the summertime, feeling fine tonight, waiting for somebody to say, sha-la-la-la-la. It's an Indiana summertime. Yes, we all know our way, and we'll be coming back someday. So what are you waiting for? Well, it's a summertime, feeling fine tonight, waiting for somebody to say, sha-la-la-la-la. Come on, everybody, it's the summertime, feeling fine tonight, waiting for somebody to say, sha-la-la-la-la. It's an Indiana summertime. There you go, man.
I told you last week on one of your live streams, I said every time you see me log into one of yours, you just know that's my automatic request.
I just know, I loved earlier you were like, this is my eternal request.
Yeah.
Like, that's such a funny way of putting it, but so sincere. It's like, I get that kind of passion, man. Like I almost didn't record that song. So it ended up being on the Malibu EP, which of course was that CD that was headed to this Young Life camp. And, you know, I had booked the studio for the day, and we recorded it in such an efficient way, me and my friend Nick, that like he's such an amazing piano player, and he carried a lot of the weight for that project. And so we still had the studio, and Dave, the engineer, was like, "Do you want to record anything else while you still got it?" And I was like, "Yeah, record this one." And I think I did it in like 2 takes, is what you hear on the album. But that song, man, for so many friends of mine who went to IU, or even those just, you know, who are Hoosiers, maybe didn't go to IU, they just really, really love that tune. And it's a joy to sing, man. It's a fun story of, it's a fun memory for me too, of like, I know exactly where I was when I wrote that song.
That's awesome.
And so I'm glad you enjoy it as much as you do, bro. And thanks again for letting it be the theme music for your awesome podcast that everyone should go subscribe and listen to right now.
Yes, please. I come out with them every Monday. I was going to say before we close out of here, let's promo our stuff real quick. But yeah, I come out with episodes every Monday. I have people like Ryan on my show, creators, musicians, authors, filmmakers, athletes, people that are just in different walks of life, mostly in creative spaces, but we get to talk about their creativity, their creative process, but also more importantly, how their faith impacts what they're doing professionally. And so I would love for people to go check that out. And then also I have a newsletter that I just started that I'm sending out some devotionals every Monday, along with a link to my podcast that week, and eventually some behind the scenes stuff for what I'm working on as well. I'm hoping to have a book published eventually. I'm working on that currently. So praying that some agent or editor will want to take a risk on it. So
there you go, man.
Yeah. So there's links in the description of this chat. I'd love for you guys to check those out. And also subscribe to Ryan's Patreon. And if you want to tip him for his music tonight, there are some links there as well, because creating stuff is not free. It takes a lot of time and effort. And, you know, you've missed out on quite a few gigs that you normally would have from this, you know? And so
I've gotten several emails over the past couple of days that, you know, things that were postponed are now officially canceled, and we're getting pushed to like 2021. But I think if you're an artist listening to this, especially, like, I would encourage you, just try to adapt in health as well as you can. Like, before this thing hit, I was doing kind of a lot of different things and had multiple revenue streams and all that. So when live performance dried up, I was like, well, I still have my guitar. I still have time. I've got Wi-Fi, and I've got people who are now all over the world on their phones all the time, even more than they already are. And I'm like, let's do some live streams. So I go live to the general public on Friday night. I'm doing one tomorrow night from 9 Eastern to, usually I go about to midnight. We'll see. I don't know. We'll see how many people are on at like 11:30. And then if you're a patron, I go live as well on Sunday nights and Wednesday nights. So If you join my Patreon community tonight, you can join those live streams 3 times a week if you want.
All right. So check out my stuff in the description. Check out Ryan's stuff. And then also check him out on Spotify because he's got a new album coming out this year. He's got plenty of music already on Spotify. So it's funny whenever your songs come up on my playlist, whenever I'm listening, sometimes I'll send you a screenshot and be like, here's what I'm jamming to.
Yeah.
So
I love that, man. That's fun.
So when Christmas rolls around again, you got to be bumping to Ryan's Christmas album that just came out. And then obviously this summer, hit up his new album coming out and all of his other music that's out there. So Ryan, thanks dude for coming on here. This was a lot of fun.
Dude, you're welcome, man. It's always a joy to connect with you, Cole. Best wishes with the podcast, with the book, with just being a husband and all the things during this crazy new season for all of us, man. Hope you guys stay well.
All right. And thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for all your song requests. And maybe we'll do this again down the road. I don't know how long this quarantine will last, but maybe we'll do this again down the road, but definitely check out Ryan's live streams, and he's always happy to take song requests there as well. And I'll probably be there tomorrow night as well. So if you're there, I'll see you. And you already know my request whenever I log in.
I'll keep Indiana summertime warm for you, bro.
All right. Take care, Ryan.
All right. See you guys. Thanks so much. Bye, Cole.